I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna be honest with you when it comes to the Somali community. And I told y'all, you know, like I was listening to this African woman, and she was basically talking about the Somali, how the Somalis operate. Yes, the Somalis were great sailors. They were great sailors, no doubt about it. They were great sailors, and they were way more inventive than the Europeans. And even the Arabs learned how to sail from the Somalis. Matter of fact, the Somalis used to trade in the Arabian Peninsula, Yemen, all the way to India, and even some of them went to China. That's how Chinese got elephants and shit because of the Somalis. But that ain't all the Somalis were trading in. The Somalis were trading in human cargo, which is the Bantu population that they still call Ab. Now, what amazes me, how when Somalis go over there to Hajj and they try to go to the mosque, I made a video about this, that the Arabs don't treat them no different than all the other sub-Saharan Africans that come from the continent. They call them, the Somalis called Abid, and the Somalis don't like it. The Cushitic Somalis, they don't like being called Abid, but that's what they call y'all in Saudi Arabia, dog. That's what they call y'all Somalis in Saudi. You think I don't know? Because I've been to Hajj. They let me in the mosque before y'all, and I was an American Muslim. They let me into the mosque before y'all. They didn't even let y'all in. You are the Pakistanis. And then I was like, I asked the Arab brother, I said, why the Somalis can't come in? And why I can come in? He said, you different. You different. You are Allah and you Muhammad Ali. And I was like, I thought about Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X. So they gave me more of a privilege to go into the masjid of Muhammad. And they didn't even give the Pakistanis, all the Somalis let them come in. And then on top of that, the Africans, you got the indigenous Saudis who are black. You got indigenous Saudis, the black Saudis. And then you look at Prince Bandar, shit, Prince Bandar looked like a black dude. So, I don't know what it is, but all the Somalis, the other Africans and Pakistanis and Indian Muslims that live over there, that live in poverty, abject poverty over there. And they do all the menial work, all the back-breaking labor. It don't be the Arabs over there doing that shit. It be the Somalis, the other Africans, and the Pakistanis who doing all the back-breaking work over there. Not even the black Saudis who are indigenous over there do all the back-breaking work, even though they in poverty too. But they Saudis. But they can't even get into the mosque of Muhammad. Now, what I want to bring up is the Bantus in Somalia. You know, I used to be a Muslim, but I changed. I had an epiphany with all these religions, especially the Abrahamic religions, but I found out all of them is plagiarized bullshit. So, I have a question for any Bantu Somali that are treated like second-hand citizens. You know, Donald Trump they don't give a damn. Like you you don't look no different than the Bantus. They see y'all as the same thing. And I do have a little bit more, nuance when it comes to Bantu Somalis. Now, I met some good Cushitic Somalis. I have. But the Bantu Somalis, they actually are outsiders. They treat it like shit by the regular Somalis. And see, the only time the Somalis use the Bantus is when they want numbers. When they want numbers. And I never could understand why the Bantus, the way they get treated, still stay into the Islamic religion. I don't know why. Racist as Arabs are, racist as the Islamic religion is. Even though they'll talk about most of your main characters they know was black, like Moses, which was the Pharaoh Akhenaten, and Jesus, which really never existed, and he was plagiarized character that never existed. So that's why you throw all this religious dogma shit to the trash in the dumpster. Really, in the dumpster. All of it I throw in the dumpster. In a barn fire. But they treat the Bantu Somalis so shitty. And you had videos where Somali Bantu women were raped, men were killed by the Cushatics. And I don't got nothing against all Cushatics, but we gonna keep it real. That's how they was doing their fellow Somalis. In the name of Allah. And this is why I don't take Islam serious. I don't subscribe to it. I don't follow it. So I don't know why the Bantus would even believe in that shit. Since they was brutalized by it, I understand it became a part of their culture. But let's keep it real. Well, I asked a lot of Cushite Somalis, what were you before the Arabs came? Because they had to have a culture before the Arabs came, before Islam came, and they probably lived in harmony with their Bantu neighbors. And see, the Bantus used to enslave, the Cushatics used to enslave the Bantus and sell them to the Arabs and the Persians. Now, me personally, I don't have nothing against Somali Cushites, but we gotta keep it real. We gotta keep it real. This is why they don't see themselves as black until they get their ass over here. And these white folks tell them, nigga, you a nigger, no matter what. You even worse, because you a Muslim. That make it even worse. And see, the Bantus, all the scamming and shit that's going on in Minneapolis, it ain't them. It ain't the Bantus, but the Bantu Somalis get thrown right with the rest of them. They throw them right along with the Somalis, and they don't got nothing to do with that shit. That's why I speak on the behalf of the Bantus, of the Bantu Somalis. I speak in their behalf, because they don't get out here and talk that shit about they ain't black. That's why I advocate for the Bantus. I advocate for the Bantus to stay. I want them, I'm going to be honest, they're the only African group I do want to stay, because they don't be talking about black Americans. They mind their own business. They don't get into the Bantu Somalis, don't have nothing to do with that shit. That's why I advocate for the Bantu Somalis. I'm going to tell black people, FBA, hey man, I vouch for the Bantu Somalis. I vouch for them. I really do. And I think once y'all look up their plight, the Bantu Somali plight, y'all will feel the same way I feel. I don't want the Bantus to be get put out, be lumped in with the rest of the Somalis. Because the rest of the Somalis, the Tushites, treat them like shit. They treat them like shit. I vouch for the Bantu Somalis. I vouch for them. You dig? I really do. And I don't want them to be sent back to, I don't want them to be sent back. I actually want them to stay. They are good people. I'm telling you, they don't get, the Bantu Somalis don't get into all that shit. They don't sit around and talking about, I'm not no black, I don't like no FBA. They don't have nothing to do with that shit. So I do vouch for the Bantu Somalis. And I think that everybody should vouch for the Bantu Somalis.